Laughing so good for the soul. Share a moment with a complete stranger or somebody you know. Don't care if you're young or you're old. Sit down and tune into the best show. Lee bringing all the flavor. Interviews getting greater and greater. With a nostalgic feel. You know she got the mass appeal. Word up.
I mean that's real, just like in life right now. Like if you really take a step back and just pay attention to what's happening in the world, like it's far more scary than it is funny. But I
Yeah.
think the gift of those of us from the African diaspora, specifically Black Americans in America, we have the ability to make the unfunny funny, let alone to be a comedian to make the unfunny funny. And I used to talk to you about when I first started comedy. I mean, it's technically my 6th year, but I don't really count 2020. And I'm still kind of afraid to talk about certain things. It used to be like, you got to go there. Like, it got to be funny to you, but you got to go there. You got to be comfortable. So to hear you say that you don't even have that right now, like it's still unfunny to you, but I think that when you are able to go there, that's going to get you, like, that's really going to be the moment to where you achieve that this has happened. This is really happening for you, especially with the transformation that you've been in, and you're now that butterfly.
I was a caterpillar for so damn long.
but I think when you can really introduce us to Barnabas, especially in the form of a one-man show, I think that's the moment. And I don't know. I'm here with you.
No, that's real. And I say from time to time that Barnabas is teaching Wildcat about Brian. Barnabas is this dude that's like, all right, y'all did all this shit. Now I'm taking over. Here's what you can't do, because you did it before as Wildcat. You did that as Brian. Barnabas is the new manager, and he's talking to God, and you don't have the choices that you had before. Because I gave you those choices so you could figure out that ain't what you're supposed to do. So many people in my life, in my circle, that was only there for me to see the example. And there was so many decisions that I made for the wrong reasons and how I did things. And if it wasn't the right way, it just didn't work out. A lot of decisions and things I tried to do, it was like, I got to the point, it was like, all right, I'm not in control anymore. So I gotta reinvent myself. I want to be a walking canvas. That's the fringes, that's numbers 15, 38. We all, throughout our generations, this is a reminder of the commandments. So I used that in the beginning to remind me of all the dumb shit that I was getting ready to do or whatever it was. It was such a awakening. I was like, wow. I felt helpless. I felt speechless. All my interviews and podcasts was just so militant. They killed Dr. Sebi. This motherfucker was how old and caught pneumonia? The fuck out of here. And you motherfuckers is going on, trying to go on in the world like it ain't shit wrong. I'm sick of all these puss-ass motherfuckers in L.A. I was like, calm the fuck down. Brian, what are you doing? That's when Barnes be like, hey, nigga, I didn't read all this shit for you to fuck it up. It's 3 people talking to me now. So I have to listen to Barnabas. When I'm on stage, I'm doing Wildcat. And then when I'm around family and friends, then I could be Brian. Now, Wildcat was successful and straight and all of that. Brian was neglected. And it wasn't until I had a year of therapy. And I had 6 months of physical therapy to learn how to walk. Then I started thinking and digging up all this shit and got a therapist. And I'm talking to this dude, and I'm like, nigga, maybe we should go on a date or something, because I done told you all this shit. We gotta do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so real, and I challenge entertainers. If you have some things that you're dealing with, they have a sliding scale now. It doesn't cost the way it used to. That therapy was the second part of saving my life, because I had to figure out why I was doing all of this shit. while I was trying to start love and while I was trying to do this instead of just letting things happen. That moment was the second part of life when I had to sit down. It was all virtual, and I'm talking to this dude. And he gave me all type of books, Family, Bradshaw. The Family is a really good book. I had to start doing the real work to figure out. It's like, wow, okay, this is why I'm like that, because my mother, my dad, me growing up, I started digging into that. And most people don't want to do that shit because what we often do is put band-aids on things that need stitches. But in order for me to truly heal your wound, if it healed the wrong way, then damn it, I gotta cut that motherfucker open, reopen it, and then seal it up. And that's why people don't want therapy, because you gotta sit there and be like, "Yup, when I was 7, man, they took my cousin to Disney World and left me." And I was like, "Man, he ain't shit but 3. He can't even." You gotta go through all the bullshit, and they gotta they gonna ask you questions, they gonna give you homework assignments, and I really sat down and processed a lot of the shit that I was going through, and it made so much sense. And I was mad at my parents. Like, my mother, like, shunned me as an early age because I was becoming my father. So the relationships I was dealing with, I was like, well, fuck it, my family's falling apart. Fresh out of high school, I had 2 kids. It was so much that I didn't even understand the trauma that I was dealing with, because my job is to go on stage and make people laugh. So I got to eat that shit. They don't care what you talking about. You have to go on stage and make people laugh. And I challenge entertainers to take a moment to find yourself. B. Cole told me in an interview I was doing with him that his suggestion is to find yourself before you are forced to find yourself. If you can find yourself, I'm right here. If you don't know where you are, you have to find yourself. And now you got to make a lot of decisions. You got to break up with people. You got to move around. You have to do what's best for you in that moment. And as an entertainer, you need to be on stage tap dancing. That's when the drugs come in. That's when the sex comes in. A lot of comics have rituals and shit. You know, a lot of weird things they do before shows, after shows, in celebration. And it's all justified through your sins and your career. And it was just such a clusterfuck that until I sat down and realized every decision that I was making, what was the derivative of that? And I started to use my life as a study guide, the things that had happened to me as a study guide, instead of merely notes. And I say that because if it happened to you, you had a bad experience, people are like, "I never do that again." No, what happened? Why won't you do it again? If it happens again, what are you going to do? Because a lot of things are unavoidable. I learned how to deal with stuff, and it was so real that it was like, I was ready to walk away from comedy. And for a while, that's why a lot of times people hit me like, "Man, it's good to see you back on stage."
Yeah.
Like, we've been friends on Facebook, and, we go back and forth. And everybody's like, "Bro, like, coming home, been here like 3 weeks. Man, I see you, cat. Man, you got the beard. Man, it's this, it's that." Because for a while, you saw me, and because of what I was going through, I didn't care. So maybe I did look homeless sometimes. I was talking to my buddy Corey Bell, and she was like, "Everybody in Chicago's like, we got to go get him. We got to go get him." I'm like, "You motherfuckers didn't come get me."
I never thought I needed to come get you, but I would check on you and be like, "Hey, just checking on you. How you doing?"
And I could be sitting waiting on my ride to pick me up from physical therapy. I ain't thinking about shaving. This motherfucker hurt. If you ever broke something, I got pins and needles in my leg to this day. The long ass pin thing look like some Legos and shit on this side, on the right side, and then a smaller one on the inside, because I dislocated my ankle and then broke like 2 of the bones. So had it been another few degrees, my foot would have literally been lingering within the ligaments and skin of my shit. And had I not done everything they told me to do from physical therapy, "You got this equipment, I'm buying a cheaper version." They made it very clear, you either won't walk or you will have a permanent limp. So it was so much that was like, man, I gotta start all the way over. And I didn't understand how that affected my mind.
Mm.
It was way deeper than anything I'd ever been through. I was in Los Angeles, so it wasn't like I could lean my head on my auntie. My brother could come by. My son was there, and I had a couple other people. My son's mom was there, and it was a level of love that I got. But everybody was going through so much. I didn't know what my son was going through at the time. His mother, what she was. It was a bunch of shit happening, and I was like, God, I know you could kill me if you wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't. And they said, had my neck hit the ground the way my foot did, boom, that's it, Joe. You gone. So I have a whole new level of appreciation for just life in general.